How do your sales skills rank? Can you sell ice to an Eskimo or sand to a camel? Whether you're the friendly neighborhood vacuum salesman or a pharmaceutical rep with a billion-dollar client list, everyone can improve their sales acumen. And today I interviewed Joe Girard, a Canadian sales performance and mindset coach, about how to sell more, have fun, and win consistently. We talked about how anyone can become a sales hero and how to overcome and reframe objections, as well as some of the biggest mistakes people make when attempting to sell. I learned so much in this quick interview, and I took tons of notes. So if you're ready to become a sales superstar, then sit back and enjoy. Hello everyone, today we have Joe Girard on the show. Joe is a Canadian sales performance and mindset coach who helps to ignite the spark of possibility in others. He's an authority on empowering people to sell more, have fun, and win consistently. Joe combines a mix of sales experience, education, and leadership development to enable more professionals to become what he calls sales heroes. Joe travels the world speaking, coaching, training, and consulting with all organizations, big and small. On his blog and his podcast, he shares some incredible insight to help his audience achieve those sales goals, and has also made a sales training program that we'll talk about in a bit called the Sales Hero Academy. And we're so glad that he's taken time out of his schedule to be here. So how are you, Joe?
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm good. I always feel weird when people do intros. So I just sit there and be like, yeah.
I did all those things. That was me.
Yeah, you did great. You know what's funny is I was on. I spoke for a company. There's about a couple thousand people in there, and I before I get up on stage, they have to do the same thing. They got to do the intro, and I'm just like, oh. And then I know, like as a sales guy, you've been in sales workshops, and it's like, the sales guy's going to get up on stage and people are like, oh, here we go, right? Because you're here. And so then the guy that introduced me, one thing you didn't mention is me and one of my friends, we do a show every Friday called Whiskey Friday, where we drink whiskey and we talk business and sales. And so he was like, he said the whole intro, and I could see people are just like, they're just getting going. He's like, yeah, he's got this show called Whiskey Friday. One of his sponsors in Glenlivet. And like, everybody was like, okay, let's listen to this guy. So we're trying to do more like where it's normal and like more human. And that's the brand, right? So
that's awesome.
Anyways, well, thank you for having me. That's my
absolutely. I love it.
Intro.
Now, in your own words, you know, I gave you the intro, but what would you really say that you do? What is a day in the life like?
You know what? I'll simplify it real easy. Over the last few years, we've been really diving into just making selling more human and helping people not be salesy weirdos. So we've even started to build out the brand. Don't be a salesy weirdo. And it's, you know, I tried, because you mentioned the Sales Hero Academy. That was something we launched a while back. And it wasn't resonating as much as I'd like to. As you know, people are saying, "Oh, you got to be the hero," and it feeds into that, you know, that brand that people think about selling, which is all about, "Hey, look at me! I'm going to help you. I'm going to save the day." Instead, be like, you know, how do we stop being weird? How do we, you know, because you listen to calls. I love listening to calls, and you hear people just be weird on their calls, and no matter how experienced they are, they're like, "I was weird. What do I do about it?" I'm like, trying to be more human. So we look at emails, text messaging, everything. That's what we've been focusing on, and helping people just get back to the basics of like connecting with people and selling and influencing and getting it done. So
because nobody likes to be sold to, but they will buy from someone who's authentic that they like.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Now, to go back a little bit and wind up your career here. So what was the big change? I know you said you worked in the education industry for a while. What was the catalyst for you to start helping others in this new arena?
Sure. Well, I did like 15 years in the for-profit education space. I did everything my mom said to do, get a good job, work my way up, right? And I became like a sales manager. I was a high performer, breaking all those records, you know, doing all the stuff that you think you're supposed to do. Studied sales for years and tried to learn how to get better and better at that, body language, psychology. And then moved into like training and corporate development with that team. And then I started to, just like a lot of people, wanted something more. So started my own business, started just kind of dipping my toes in like the blogging world. Like, you know, like you guys start doing videos and starting to do all the stuff. And then started getting people messaging me being like, hey, can you talk to us? Right. And I thought I would just start a little bit locally here. I'm in Victoria, right. And just dip my toes. And I realized people all over the world were challenged with the same stuff. And so my first like real contract was a company. This guy messaged me, and I thought it was like when you get that email from the Nigerian prince, I'm like, it's not a real guy, right? And so he's like, he messaged me. He's like, we want you to come and do our global sales training. I'm like, I think you might have the wrong guy. I'm just like a regular dude. And and he's like, no, you're exactly who we want to talk. We watched some of your YouTube videos and you're normal. I'm like, okay, cool. So I went and did like a global training for them, and it was really good, huge, like $1 billion company. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is something that can work. And so just started to work on that, and tried to be, I'm still working on it, trying to be less and less weird, and just getting more systems and things in place. And now working with, a lot of different companies, every kind of industry, we get to help them just sell more, build systems, build playbooks, build, psychology, and help them just get their customers buying. So that's kind of where we're at, man. We do cool stuff, cool companies. That's what we're looking for. Cool projects. That's why I connected with you. You said, hey, you said cool stuff. I'm like, I'm going to talk to this guy.
Thank you. Now, do you have like a favorite company or a favorite project that you've been able to be involved with?
Well, yeah, I got to say this safely. Everybody's my favorite. No, yeah. No, but you know what? I've got, I'll shout out to them. I'm working with these guys right now, Jeremy and Jason from the Closing Engine. And they came to me there. This is what I like is they build sales people for high ticket sales funnels. So if you see like, clients on demand, Rufinos, all those kind of like big funnels that people build salespeople on, these guys provide salespeople for them, and they train them, they hire them, they do that. And I'm their coach helping them drive their business. So we're having some really cool conversations, not just about how to sell, but how to build sales comp plans, how to build their sales teams, coaching their salespeople, coaching them, helping them, focus on the highest value activities. And the thing, they'll tell you the number one thing I like about them, which is if you ask about clients, is they just go get shit done. They go and get it done. Like, here's an idea, they're implementing it right away. So that's when, you say favorite clients. Sometimes they're favorites, sometimes they're not favorites. But when people do the stuff, if you're coaching and speaking, when people implement and they go after it, that's where people do cool stuff. So these guys are my favorite guys right now. They're tons of fun, super hilarious. And they go and get to work, and then they abuse my time because I'm so excited. I'll just work around the clock for them. So it's perfect, man.
That's awesome. That's the kind of partnerships that you really want with your client.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of the biggest challenges that you had when starting your business and reaching out on your own?
It's always like everybody, man, with entrepreneurship is that imposter syndrome, feeling like, why would anybody give me money? Right. And so you start with, charging too little. That was a big one right away because, I knew better, but I didn't practice what I preached, and charge way too little. And I think I read something, and it was like 10 times you're charging. So I went from like $50 to $500 an hour, like overnight. Absolutely transformed the relationship we built with our clients. It moved from like, what are you going to do for us to, well, what do we have to do to make this worthwhile? And since then, it's just been steadily going up, and it's way easier to have higher ticket conversations. So that was a big lesson. But the other biggest one, especially as it comes to sales, is I had a spiritual coach for a number of years where we focused on vulnerability, ego, getting out of my own way, dealing with my own crap, and just being more, like I said, more vulnerable, and just caring more about the clients and finding joy for them and being in service and adding value, and forgetting about like who I'm trying to be, but more how we can help other people. And so I think that's where, in the industry that we're in the sales world, we're trying to fight against that sales bro mentality of like crush it, kill it, convert it. It's like, these are people, help them do cool stuff. That's it, right? And then you could still influence and help them. So those are some of the big transitions, is just getting out of my own way and working with my coach, right?
Awesome. Now, as you said, you evolved. You've been studying psychology, sales, all of this for years. Yeah. Now, you've got a natural inclination for sales. Obviously, you like people. But how did you start to develop that skill set even more? Was it reading or courses, mentorship?
Bit of everything. Yeah. I mean, I was actually the other night, I was with a friend of mine, a friend and client, and we were talking about, where we're going with things. And he was asking me something similar. We were talking about that. And it wasn't like one specific thing. I think I've always been a reader, lifelong learner. So take stuff, and like I said, apply it. I look at the books that I have, and I have to ask myself, I'm like, have I read these books? And like a lot of people have books. I'm like, what have you read? I've got a couple in front of me I haven't read yet. So I'm moving the ones I haven't looked at here, but those ones I have read. And the goal is to like apply them and put them to the test. And so, the things that have really made the difference are, moving away from just sales skills. So I've studied all the sales books and the sales techniques and tactics that work differently for people, but it's more like learning about nature, learning about even music, learning about how, humans interact, the social psychology behind stuff, neuroscience. We do a lot of stuff on statistical probability and just how the world sort of intersects. And it's like, that's really interesting. The book that I'm going to read, one of my clients recommended, this looks kind of fun. I'm not political here at all, but it's called Win Bigly. It's all about how like Donald Trump, his power of persuasion, like is really interesting about the simplicity and the way he persuades. That's the kind of stuff that's really cool, right? Just how people think. And the stuff I really like reading is like the psychology studies from the 70s where there weren't really that many rules and they just did weird stuff to people. Like that was a really, that's interesting to read about because it's too technical now.
They were getting real answers, you know, they're digging
for sure.
in, trying to figure this out, putting people in crazy scenarios.
Yeah, and now, like with the fMRIs and the way they can study neuroscience, they're, you know, validating a lot of the assumptions, but now they're seeing how the brain really works in the wild, which becomes really interesting. And we do stuff on like subliminal and subconscious and NLP, and it's like, you know, what we think we know very little of. And so knowing that all this stuff is happening under the hood, that's why that whole weirdo factor is so important right now, is because people can smell it, man. They can smell that sales breath. They can smell when you're trying to do something. Yeah. So it's really hard to be, you know, the buzzwords, authentic, genuine, but that's where people struggle, is they have tact. You look online, your Facebook feed, my 5-step proven formula to get anybody. It's like, no, it's not how it works.
No.
Right. So
that's exactly it. You know, people can tell that there's a script. And like you said, I'm sure you educate your clients in, you know, what goes into the NLP and the talking and building that relationship, because if it's just words that are coming out of your mouth is a big difference from understanding the concepts themselves.
Absolutely. And you know what, that's perfect with scripting. Like my girlfriend is, you know, she's a ballerina, actress, singer, super talented. And when we look at the difference between one person reading a script and another person, you apply that to sales, it's night and day. You could tell who's good at what they're doing, the same words, but different meaning. Right. And so, you know, we help, one of the big things I help clients with is we still break down scripts for like high ticket stuff, but, you know, really finding ways to care about that client, find ways to ask good questions and dig into stuff that's important to them. And we can still follow a pattern and roadmap, but it has to be two humans. Otherwise you're just, you know, people just miss stuff all the time as a robot. Right.
Absolutely. And I kind of feel, I was having this conversation with my wife yesterday. I feel that, you know, as automation is getting more and more prevalent, and, you know, these service industries where you can expand on that human element and you can really make it a one-on-one personal interaction, that's what's going to grow and expand and be that valuable skill set 5-10 years from now, as you're not going to be able to work in a toll booth. You're not going to these simple, easy to replace jobs will be replaced, and it's that human element that you're teaching people that's going to be the big skill set.
And you know what's funny, man, along those lines is I've been doing I'm doing a lot more like teaching people like and using myself like video emails. I use a program called Vidyard Go Video, and it's just really simple Chrome plugin. And like I sent a proposal the other day, big proposal to a client, and we weren't able to line up for our meeting. I'm like, I want to get them this proposal, but I'll send them a video email as well. So there's a little thumbnail, and you can already see me talking, the head, and then the proposal, and it's cool to use that. And so trying to find these ways to connect with people, but we're doing outreach on LinkedIn, trying to connect with people. And even if it's really good, genuine outreach, people still are like, sounds like marketing. So I'm like, why am I not getting responses? And people are just, it's really hard for people to see what is the marketing email, what's not. Even the one that you sent to me, I'm like, how much of this is scripted and did like, because people are like, I really enjoy your website and your blog. I'm like, do you? Right?
Have you read something?
Right? Even if they actually meant it and they were like, I'm a big fan. It's like, but if you don't tell me why or how, or if I don't feel like this is human, I'm not going to respond. And that's what everybody's struggling with. So even really nice, genuine, cool people are doing really good outreach, but their audience is missing it because they're bombarded with stuff all the time, and we're having a hard time seeing through that. So we're trying to find some unique ways. We're doing a lot more text messaging and like having fun and just being like making sure that the joke is personal and the thing is personal. So people are like, there's no way they could have scripted that. So finding ways to disrupt those patterns is the big name of the game right now, man.
That's it. Now, what would you say, building on that of, you know, mistakes and outreach, but what would you say are some of the biggest sales mistakes that people make?
Well, I'll tell you, like when we, you know, just go back into the Salesy Weirdo side, there's two kinds that we look at. One is like overly enthusiastic. And I just worked with a new client on this the other day. I opened up, I'm like, show me the emails that you sent. And the first email I looked at, it was littered with, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think it was littered with? One thing what's that?
Exclamation points.
Oh man, there was like 8 of them in like a 2-paragraph. I was like, what? They're for exclaiming. If you read it the way you wrote it, you sound like a crazy person, right? So like, that's the the weirdo is just overly excited. You know, you go networking or something and somebody's like, how are you? And you're like, you're weird, man.
Hey, bring it
down. Just take it down. Like, let's be friends. Like if you were my friend, I probably wouldn't text you back. Like you're creeping me out, right? Like, so treat them like you would like your friends. The second one is like the overly formal one, where people are just like, they're putting on that armor because they want to sound smart. And they're stressing you out because they have, they're not even paying attention to you. They're just so wrapped up in their world. So those are the big mistakes I see right now, is that, you got to find a fine line to be, you got to be professional. You got, but not too formal. You got to be excited, but not too excited. You have to be real and human and connect with people, and also be patient. I think people are really impatient right now. They're not willing to play the long game. They don't have the right systems in place. So they have an idea they want to sell. And that's why all these launches and all this stuff, everybody's addicted to them, because it's like, I want to win right now. But the question is, do you want to be in business in a year from now? Let's build those things and actually go slower so we can go faster. That's, stuff that I've learned from my mentors, right? Yeah. So systems and long game and just being patient, because it's a lot of work. Right.
Oh, I can definitely.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right? You know what's up.
It's the long-term goal. The instant gratification is obviously what everyone wants, whether like you said, it's in building your business or in sales overall. But having the discipline to build slow so you can go fast, that's exactly what happens. Yeah. If you don't build that platform first, and whether that's like with your clients, you said, teaching them the foundations of being human and knocking out the weirdy sales, or whatever industry you're in, you still have to build that foundation. Yeah. And that, and that's exactly what you're saying with clients. The big thing for us is, and I just actually learned it like years ago when I started, because my company's called Change, Grow, Achieve. And I was just looking for words that made sense when I built my company. I'm like, I like those words. And I could just trying to find a URL that could work. It took me forever, right? So that's how but now it's exactly what we believe in, because we help people understand the process of change. Like you're saying, like what happens, like phase one looks like this. Let's get through that so that we can, and help people understand what's going on in change. And then the growth is a big part of it as well. So grow, personally, grow your teams, develop talent, create incubators for that. And then achievement comes as a result of that. And so, we don't, like, I'm not a big altruistic, like if you're just super nice to everybody at work, it's like, no, you still got to build the systems. You have to influence. And so, selling can feel good and all this stuff. So the process of change, what happens with companies, what happens with individuals, we try and help them embrace that a little, go a little bit slower, but understand these things will happen. And so we're better at like the psychological priming of people to say, when this happens, you're going to feel like this. That's normal. That's what we're going to push through, instead of like waiting till they're there and feeling overwhelmed. They go, I can't do it anymore. And you're like, it's too late. I should have said something earlier. So that's what we try and look at all the time, is how do we prevent dumb stuff from happening? Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Now your course, the Sales Hero Academy, you said you launched it quite a few years ago. And so what was sort of the culmination to start putting things together in that way, or how did you formulate it? Yeah. And it's funny, man. It was just like a lot of stuff. You just put it together. I say, there's a lot of people that were getting a hold of me that weren't really my ideal customer. And so I was doing a lot of coffee meetings and helping people, and I like to give back. And then I had to start postponing those because my business was really busy. And I also was becoming a slave to content and creating things and sharing. And I was doing a lot of corporate training and building all this like cool materials. So I thought, well, what if I took all those, like the corporate training stuff that I built? We had some really cool branded stuff, neat places. And I said, I'll put it in one spot so that people that might not be a good fit for me now could actually take this stuff, apply it, go do something with it, and then come back to me and now be a better fit as a client. And it worked really, really well. So we're not, and I'm such an idiot because I'm not really driving that program. I'm not trying to monetize it. We've got some Facebook groups. We've got a bunch of people in there, but it's not like my core business. And so I'm like, anybody that wants to help, like, let's do it. I just don't put time into it. We've got like probably about 100 hours worth of content and training and resources and guides. And every time I do stuff, I load it in there and new things. But the academy was just to help people understand there's some foundations. There's a master class on psychology, influence, building emails, all these cool things, asking questions, breaking down spin selling, all the stuff that you'd want to know. Like it's just like a master's in sales, but it's in there for people to go and apply this stuff. And it's nice for me. It's almost like my way of giving back, because I'm like, if you want some help, go there, right? Then come to me. And then it's almost cheating for them because they join the Facebook group and they can monopolize my time as a consultant. And I'm like, I will help them. So if you want to game the system, just join my course and you can steal all my time. I love helping people that take action, right? So way cheaper. So now I know where to find it, but if you pique some of our people's interest in that little spiel, where can they find that? Where can they get that? SalesHeroAcademy.com. Okay, easy enough. That's it. Now, I know that like you've said previously, you've been expanding and doing more keynote speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that evolve out of, the consulting? Were you always comfortable on stage? Did you have some training in speaking, or has it just been an evolution?
Yeah, when I was like in my corporate job, I did a lot of training for our teams. I love getting up and talking and helping and doing training and building workshops and making it fun. I had some really good mentors that I worked with, and we just had a blast doing that stuff. Then when I started doing, doing a lot more networking, people would ask me, hey, could you come and speak on this? I did some network marketing years ago as well, where, get up and talk about stuff and getting more comfortable. And then the more I started to practice it, the big transition was when I realized, like, you know what, nobody cares about me. They don't care about what I say, what I look like, how I'm formed, because everybody's nervous as a speaker. Like, how am I going to sound? What should I wear? And all this stuff. And then I said, that doesn't matter. I could go up there in track pants. If my message can help them make an impact in their world, that's what matters, right? So I look for two things, nods and notes. If people are nodding, and if they're taking notes, I'm like, there we go. And so I'm much more willing to stop what I'm talking about to try and make an impact, ask better questions, give more back to them and do that. So that's what, even as I'm talking to you now, I'm trying to think, in the moment, like, what's going to be helpful for your audience? What's going to be helpful for them? What could they do? What's something they can apply right now and not turn this off and go back to looking at their, Facebook pictures of cats, stuff like that. Right. So, that was the one thing. And then, I built content on my website on YouTube. Crazy enough, spin selling, right? Yeah. So I did a project myself. I was like, I'm going to do 90 days of daily blogging. And I was like, this is a crazy project, but I'm a big fan of like doing a 90-day sprint. And I said, let's just do it. And one of the things I did was a video, like super stupid book review on spin selling, in my bedroom with my camera. It wasn't even that in focus. And then I had some words come on the screen. I'm like, that's good enough. 5 minutes, posted it. And since then, I think it's almost 80,000 views. And it's the number one, if you search spin selling, it's the first video that pops up. Weird. It's super weird. I outranked Neil Rackham, who wrote the book. He messaged me. He's like, what did you do? I'm like, I have no idea. That's how it ranked. And I got all these people that would contact me through that video. And I didn't even have my funnel built out. They're like, hey, and I added at the end of it, I was like, tomorrow I'm going to review the Challenger sale. I never did. And so I get people in the comments like, where's the video? Shame on you. I'm like, it's whatever. But it is what it is. And so, I get people that come to me and it just message me and they're like, spin selling. That's all they send me. And it makes me realize all the stuff that we do isn't as impactful as this one thing that I did. And you never know what's going to happen, because the people that just message me that just say spin selling, they find my contact info and they just go, hey, I'd like you to talk to our team about some spin selling, building some questions. It's always a VP of sales or a CEO of a big company. Mm-hmm. They don't have time to go through all my training, my 4-part video series, my free course, my paid course, my lead magnet. They don't care. They're like, I like what you said. Tell our team that. And I'm like, wow. So, if you think about segmenting and building your customer profile, that's my target audience. So we're doing a lot more. That's why I'm saying I stripped away all the BS. And, and I know it works, because last year in January, I was like laying in bed in the morning and I opened my email and I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, I think I got to go to Poland tomorrow. She's like, why? I'm like, oh, just give me a minute. And the lady that was there, it was for Merck Pharmaceuticals, the giant pharmaceutical company. They had a spin selling consultant coming in that backed out last minute. So he went online. He's like, spin selling speaker. And my stupid face popped out. Hi, this is how the book works. It's just a simple book review. Yeah. And they called me. They're like, what would it take to get you to Warsaw tomorrow? And I'm like, all right. So I charged them a bunch. They booked me and I flew out there and I was there. Spin selling. I had to speak for an hour. They paid me a whole bunch. And then they took me to, they had a beer fest that night. And they said, just send us your pant size. I was in lederhosen and had a great time. And then the night that we were all hanging out drinking beer, they're like, we just found out our keynote speaker tomorrow broke his leg skiing. Can you do our keynote as well? So I had to do the keynote for Merck, their global sales conference, and do training on spin selling like in one day. So, that's the kind of thing when you think about speaking, and that happens because I built something, 4 years ago. And so, that's that long game. You never know, but you've got to build some stuff that's consistent. So, and also pay attention to what the market's telling you. So I've been really restructuring how we're doing things and going after the right mess. So that's my long answer to speaking and all that stuff. There's just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I think the underlying basic of all of that, though, is just the execution to follow through. That's what you set your goal. I need to do it. I'm going to make it. Who knows what's going to happen today or in 2 weeks? Like you said, 4 years ago, now it builds upon itself.
Yeah. And then also with the Sales Care Academy too, like going through the process of refining all the materials and the tools allows me, if I want to go and do a presentation, I've got all the tools prepared. Right. Mm-hmm. So, getting, not trying to be all places at once. I've got podcasts, I've got all sorts of things that we're going to, revamp and do, but just what's more meaningful for your audience and, not trying to do too much, but do the right stuff that they need.
Gotcha. Now, I know you talked about some of your coaches and mentors, but can you expand a little bit about the importance of how that played into things and finding the right people to learn from?
Yeah. When I had my job, when I first started, our VP of sales, Patrick, was awesome. He was a really good mentor, helped me just really have fun with this and just, really allowed me to do a lot of stuff, even though there, there's a lot of dumb things that happen in an organization. He was a good coach, good mentor through that. Once I started building out my own business and expanding my network, I started to find some other leaders to connect with. At first, when we did some network marketing, I was like, "Oh, this feels a bit different." Some leadership outside. Then working with my spiritual coach. Then I hired a golf coach. I got business coach, marketing coach, and then I had a mentor who from Italy. He's the one that taught me about the goal and systems thinking and really going into deep variation and statistical probability in business and understanding how that all works and building. And we got some really cool projects that we did and just, learning from these guys, different perspectives. And the best mentors, are the ones that kind of were a little bit more patient, asked the bigger questions, and then they got to work, right? Mm-hmm. There was no what's the thing we're going to do today? There was no rush to get it done, but there was a work ethic to make sure things got done. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So totally. That's kind of what I learned from my mentors is if I'm not really jacked about doing something, like even this summer, we moved into a new house here and I didn't really work that hard this summer because I wasn't quite sure what I was going to work on. So I didn't want to just go into the abyss of being omnipresent and having to be, who am I being accountable to? It's my business, right? And then coming on the other side of that to say what's really important and what do we need to do and serving my clients. And it helps us double my business really quickly. That way, yeah.
Wonderful. Now, expanding on that a little bit, in your journey, what would you say are the top 2 or 3 skills for success in 2018?
Going back to what I said earlier is really finding a way to authentically connect with the people you're trying to serve as customers, as clients. It's not that they're not interested. It's just that we're not interesting. We have to cut through the noise. I spent 2 hours unsubscribing to lists, in January and trying to delete emails that I was not reading, even though they were good people, giving me good advice, good materials. I'm like, I can't keep up. So one skill we got to get good at is connecting with people genuinely. And one of my clients, we were talking, I'm like, pick up the phone. Yeah. People don't even know how to use these things anymore. It's like, hey, how's it going? Can I help you? Send a text message to somebody that you want to work with. Be like, hey, I've been thinking about you. I'd love to work with you on this. Let's go talk. Right? Yeah. Pick up the phone, call them, be like, you might not know me. Send them something that's really authentic. Let's talk. So this year is the year we're trying to make authentic connections. So I really tightened up my bookings calendar so that people that are like, let's meet, I'm like, I'm in. So that's anybody wants to meet, I will meet, I'll give advice. And it's about, helping people solve problems. And then they decide, do we work together? So that's the first skill is giving a lot first, connecting genuinely and letting people figure out, okay, should we work together? That's the one. And the other thing, I think people just slow down. Right? Focus on priorities, slow down, build your systems, build your tools. And, if everybody's like, I'm too busy, it's like a badge of honor. Forget it, man. You're not too busy. You just are picking shitty priorities.
Yeah. we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 3.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that quote. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's get to know you, a couple of things on you as well here. Yeah. So do you have any favorite books or book recommendations?
Oh, I've got tons. Well, the one that I reference a lot is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. You've read that, yeah?
Yeah, it's a great one.
And, working through that. Subliminal is a good one. It's what our subconscious rules our behavior, and it's really interesting to see how under the radar everything is there. Let's see what else. Well, Spin Selling, of course. Built to Sell is another one that we've got about, really systemizing, productizing your offer. The Goal by Eli Goldratt. Have you ever read that?
No.
That one is an older one, and it's all about like throughput and systems. And what else would I think? Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now.
Yep, that's a good one.
And, Power of Habit. Right, Charles Duhigg. Have you ever read that one?
I haven't.
Yeah, we apply that one because it talks about habit and how it's really deep-seated in us and how much mental energy goes into things if we're trying to constantly do new things. Mm-hmm. So when we start thinking about building systems, the more systems and processes you have in place, the less mental energy you have and the more focused and present you can be with the people in front of you and the things that you're doing. So that's why when we look at habits and what really happens as we strengthen those, it allows us to be more than we are. And if you're jumping back and forth, multitasking, which doesn't really exist, that's one thing. So those are some books I would recommend right away. I'm just trying to think anything else I would do. Books, tell me something. Oh, The One Thing is good. Anything by John Maxwell?
Yep.
Yeah, and I just been getting into Russell Brunson stuff. So Expert Secrets is good.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then of course Challenger Sale, Challenge Your Customer, Pitch Anything, Ultimate Sales Machine. Lots of these good books, man.
Yeah, you've got the sales library going on over there.
Yeah. Psychology, sales, and then a lot of like nature and human stuff, and it's like just influence, how to talk to anyone, personal branding. Yeah, just read a bit of everything.
There you go. All right, here's another fun one. If you could have a conversation, go out to dinner with anyone, past, present, future, fact or fiction, who would it be?
Who would I go with? I've always been a fan of Jeffrey Gitomer.
Okay, yeah.
He's been out of his mind. I met him once, and I think I would hang out with him.
The Little Red Book of Selling.
That's it, man.
Great one. That would be a good one. All right. Now, I know you're an inspiration. You've helped hundreds and thousands of people throughout your career, but who do you look to as an inspiration?
Who am I looking to as an inspiration? Who would I think right now? Well, I'm digging, this is everybody's talking about it, but like Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm digging his stuff. I'm not a big fan of his style. Because everybody's now trying to copy his style. Right. I know it's genuinely him. I don't like his the amount of work that he's doing. I don't envy that, right? But that's not what I want. But I love just like his approach to stuff right now, and just I know the impact that he's trying to make, and I think a lot of people are misinterpreting it and going after it the wrong way. But I think he's doing some cool stuff right now. I like what he's doing. Russell Brunson's also pretty cool with what he's doing because he's really trying to settle in. He's making a ton of money. Sounds really genuine what he's doing. There's a lot of guys out there, a lot of male and female that are just like, I have to say that I guess now, but there's a lot of women that I look up to as well. My mom, of course, and doing really interesting things, trying to make an impact. And it's fun to see a lot of the journeys that people are going on. So
yeah, it's an awesome time to be alive right now. There's a lot going on. Okay, so a couple things to wrap up here. Is there anything that you're currently working on? Any new projects that are coming in the pipeline?
Yeah, as I was mentioning before we jumped on, I think our big push right now is looking at what are kind of qualified as like for benefit companies, people that are trying to make an impact while making money. So it's not like not for profit, but they're people that are saying, this is our mission, this is our value, this is who we're serving. One company I reached out to, or that reached out to me, they're really big in like mental health, and they're an apparel company. So I get excited because I'm like, you guys you've got a great business, but you're doing really cool, meaningful work. I want to work with you, helping you connect with more of your customers. So that's what I'm looking for, is businesses that are building these big visions, values, missions, that I can help them make selling a big part of that, because I think selling becomes often an afterthought from the strategic planning, and people go, all right, now we got to sell that. And if they don't know how to sell that vision, it doesn't connect with their customers as fast as it could. So that's who we're looking for. So we've found a site called Game Changers, reaching out to all those companies and looking at, how can we help you get your impact and get more customers to give you money so you can grow that impact and make a bigger impact. So that's what we're looking at right now.
Awesome. And final question here. Is there anything that you wish I had asked, or do you have any final words of wisdom?
I don't think you had asked. You did a good job. You could ask about how I'm taming this luscious beard. I've been working on growing this.
I was gonna say, what, about 2 years in growing?
No, not that long. But now it's into the mode where I have to start blow drying it. So it's a whole new process, man.
All of these beard products you didn't know existed before.
I didn't know I had to. It's all leaving up here. I'm like, fantastic. I'll work out of here, right? But you know what? I don't know. That's one thing you just missed completely. So shame on you.
It's Canadian, so you know you've got to have it up there.
But you know Victoria's not like that.
No, not at all.
Always warm, right? So, but you got to say it. You know, nothing really that we missed. I think the big thing is, you know, like the direction where things are going. If anybody can take anything away from this, is just how to be more human, be less weird. You know, connect with people. Do, you know, like just like what you're doing. You reached out to me, totally cold market, and said, let's connect. And we started chatting, and you're a cool guy. I'm like, that's what you should be doing in your market. Anybody out there, go connect with people in a real way. Forget about the results. Help them do stuff. If there's a way to work together, it'll come. So, I mean, that's really what the foundation of what we're talking about today is.
Awesome. Very great. Joe, I appreciate your time. I've got a bunch of notes here. It's going to be fun going through this and putting everything together. But outside of that, I truly do appreciate you spending some time to give myself and our viewers some incredible value today.
Right on, man. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Awesome.
And that's a wrap. What'd you think? Let me know the favorite thing that you learned in the comment section below. And if you know someone who is working to accelerate those sales skills and get a bit better in that arena, go ahead and be a pal. Send them this link. Sharing is caring. Below, I've included links to Joe's website, his programs, and so much more. So if there's something that we talked about, book recommendations, anything and everything, it's in the description box below. Made it super easy for you. As always, click subscribe right down there in the corner. We've got new interviews coming at you every Wednesday. We also have videos on Monday and Friday. So that's 3 times a week. Good stuff here on the channel. And don't forget, our brand new course, Millennial Magnetism, is opened up to help you unleash your inner awesome. Become a social rock star, overcome objections, talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime, in only 10 minutes a day. Again, all that is in the description box below. Last but not least, check us out at our home on the web, lifesecretsauce.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter and we can bring the awesome straight to your inbox. Until next time, ciao for now.